Hello. Today is day 56 in the countdown to Antarctica. So happy that you're back joining me to talk some more about my journey of scuba diving that has led me to this trip. So, yesterday I did a whole whirlwind rambling video about some of my warm water diving experiences, some of the things that I've seen and done, and the places I've been. And it was a fabulous little reminiscing moment for me. And I hope you enjoyed some of my stories. So, today I'm going to talk about my cold water diving journey. And that started all because of my desire to scuba dive in Antarctica. Until I made that decision, I had never dove anywhere that wasn't tropical, meaning, a thin wetsuit and or just a bathing suit. Um, and I kind of thought I never would dive around here. Until I met Sabrina and September, who were the ladies who told me about their experience diving in Antarctica. I had never met anybody else other than my parents who had dove in Canada. And they didn't make it sound very appealing. They said it was cold and, not a lot to see. And sometimes that's pretty true. I mean, it's like always cold. Even in the summer, it's still cold. Not as cold as it is now, but still chilly. And there's not tons to see, but there is stuff to see. So, there wasn't anything really motivating me to dive around here until I wanted to go to Antarctica and I needed to have experience in cold water and experience in a dry suit. I needed at least 30 dry suit dives. So, from the time I originally booked this trip in 2020 to the time I was going to leave in 2021, it didn't give me a whole lot of time to get my dry suit certification and get in those 30 dives. um, I think by the time it was canceled, I had 29 dives. So, like, I was there so close to hitting the minimum requirements in the dry suit before it was canceled because of COVID. So, anyways, um, that was kind of a blessing in disguise because I've now had a lot of experience in comparison to just bare minimum 30 dives in a dry suit. So I don't have the exact number, but I'm thinking it's somewhere around like 210 dives that I've done in the last 4 years in a dry suit. So now I am way over qualified, if you will. I mean, not that I was unqualified before, but I'm definitely more prepared. I have more experience. I feel more comfortable. I am more confident. I have experienced more challenging situations. My mindset has expanded because of all the diving that I have done in the last 4 years. Not to mention, I've made some pretty awesome friends. Um, so where have I dove in cold water? Only in Alberta, in BC, in Canada. So in Calgary, there's a couple of local lakes that you can dive in. The one that I've probably been to most is Lake Chaparral because we have lots of divers that live in that community, and there's some really cool stuff in that lake. I forget what year they built the lake in, sometime in the 90s, I want to say. And they built it in conjunction with, I don't want to say the wrong thing, some sort of firefighter event. And they also built it for the purpose of like using it for training for firefighters. So in this lake, they have lots of different culverts in different positions. I think there's, Steve, you're gonna be like, how come you don't know the number of culverts in the lake yet? I know there's like 8 different stations, structures in the lake. Some of them are culverts. There's also like metal ladders with different rungs that we can swim through. So some of these culverts we can swim through. Some of them have like 3 lined up together. Some of them are in like Y shapes, and you can swim through one and go out the side, or do all sorts of different things. You can go over top of them. There's some that are like a blunt end, so you can't, or a blind end, so you can't actually go through them. I mean, you could go in, but you'd have to come back out. And yeah, there's some that are like kind of upright, so you can kind of go up and over into them. So it's pretty cool. to go there. And it's nice and close, which is great. There's a couple other lakes in the city that I've been to as well, but not many. The next most popular place that I probably go is Lake Minnewanka. This is actually a fairly famous diving location. I wouldn't say dive site because there's numerous sites to dive in this lake. But it's known for the town that used to be there. What is currently remaining of the town, I have yet to see. Um, because you need a boat to get there. And the one time we did have a boat, we didn't quite get the right coordinates, and or the wind pushed us far away, and then we also probably swam in the wrong direction. So there was a multitude of factors that went into not finding that town site that day. It was still fun nonetheless. So there's this what we call the town site, and it's a bunch of different foundations from different houses and hotels. I think there's a stove down there, and there's also like a really long wharf. Again, I've yet to see it, but one day I will. The other thing that's in Lake Minnewanka is the bridge pilings. So that is a set of four structures of basically logs stacked on top of each other filled with rocks. And so that used to, hold up and support the bridge. Um, and then there's also the 1912 dam in there. We've gone to that many, many times. It's quite a large structure under there. It's neat. There's engravings. There's a blockhouse you can swim through. It's just really cool and sometimes a little eerie because it's like when you're at the bottom of it, it's big and towering and big shadow, especially on a day that's a little overcast. Um, okay, this video is already getting long. And there's one more thing in Lake Minnewanka that I have seen for the first time this year, and that was the 1895 dam. So this was a wooden structured dam. You wouldn't know it's a dam if you didn't know that before going down there. So I got to explore that for my 300th dive, actually. So that was super cool. A great fun way to celebrate by going somewhere new. So that's in Lake Minnewanka. Where else have I dove cold water? Waterton is a very famous place to go as well. Beautiful. I only went to Waterton for my first time when I started diving. That is closer to the US border, but not quite. And I've gone to BC, Moyi Lake, Premier Lake, and a place in, I want to say Vernon, but I don't think that's the right place. The dive site was BOB, the Big Orange Bridge. Maybe it was, no, yeah, I don't know. I really, again, should have brought out my dive log for this, but it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So in Moy, there's a really cool mine shaft down there. I'm not going to describe it too much because, again, the video is getting long already. In Premier Lake, there's some really cool stuff and really neat topography. Plus, the visibility there was absolutely amazing in comparison to what we see around here, which can be no visibility up to 30 feet if we're lucky on a good day. The visibility actually gets really good in the middle of winter when the lakes have kind of froze over. There's probably a lot of different reasons for that I don't really know, and there's lots of speculation around that as well. And yeah. Oh, and in the city that I'm always forgetting, Vernon, Nelson, something like that, somewhere in BC, at the BOB dive site, there was a wreck, the Yimmer. That was pretty neat too. A wooden, I think it was a tugboat. So that was pretty neat to go see as well. So as you know, may have noticed, I haven't really talked about fish at all, and that's because there's not a lot of fish. I'd say the place that has the most fish that I've seen around here is Waterton. They often like to hang out in these logs. So yeah, it's pretty cool down there. And most of those fish are sucker fish, and maybe some other type of whitefish. Sometimes there's trout, but lots and lots of sucker fish. And in Lake Minnewanka, very few fish. I mean, they're probably in there somewhere, just not that we see. They often hear our bubbles and swim away before we even know they're there. Um, Apparently, we sound big and scary. Oh my gosh, I've just basically spent 9 minutes talking about where I have been diving around here. But didn't really get to talk about why this was so important to me and my dive trip. So maybe I will talk about that tomorrow. So this video doesn't go on and on and on. So thank you all for joining me for day 56. I'm starting to lose track. I need to have it written down in front of me. 56 days until Antarctica. Can't wait for tomorrow to talk more about diving. Bye.